Da 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 da.
What was that?
That's a Pixar or Toy Story.
All right, this isn't the Pixar episode. You're a few episodes late, bud.
Oh,
Um.
oh, whoops.
Oh. Yeah,
Hi.
we're talking about old history movies. That's right.
Her
Welcome back to
story.
Stacked episode 79.
Her story.
Probably one of the dumbest intros ever. I hated that intro, but we're gonna start
you-
the episode anyways. Who
That's
cares?
rude. I tried to come up with something and you just put me down like that.
You sang the Toy Story theme for an episode about period pieces.
Yeah, pre-1800 period pieces.
That's right, everybody. We are doing, in honor of the Northman hitting theaters this weekend. When this episode drops, I will be seeing it with my dad because he's going to be in town on this day, this Sunday that it drops. We wanted to honor old period pieces about history, but we decided to get a little creative with it, sort of narrow our choices a bit more, because it seems like that most period pieces made recently are films that are either from the 1800s or earlier. You know, a lot of especially American period pieces, a lot of Civil War or earlier, you know. So I wanted to really, I really wanted to stretch our brains here and think about some films that talk about, the olden times, the really olden times before the 1800s, you know. So, yeah, I think we're gonna have a really fun episode with some really creative choices. I know for a fact that you guys have not seen a single one of the movies that I'm picking, so this is gonna be a big pitching episode.
They're
you know?
probably bad.
All right. Well, looks like I'm starting at a disadvantage. So, wish me luck, everybody, on my pitches. Chris, I talked to you about this before this when I was hanging out with you in LA this weekend. What was going through your mind when you were picking out this stack?
Well, at first I thought this would be a really difficult stack to create because just off the top of my head, I can't think of that many period films from a pre-1800s. But after some light researching, it made me realize that I had a couple of movies that fit really well into this category. And funnily enough, this this theme has created what has probably been one of the most proud stacks I've ever created. I think all three of my films this week are bangers. And yeah, I'm really excited to share them with you. I think we've all seen the movies that I've chosen. And yeah, Brandon, you got any? How was your process?
I thought it would be more difficult than it was. I have like 12. I had 12 movies that I kind of was like, I like these. These could be good period pieces. And I kind of wanted to divide it so that I wouldn't choose one movie from this century and then a similar movie. You know, I wanted to keep it stretched out. Not necessarily across continents, but across countries. And yeah, let's see what we got.
Alrighty. Well, it's gonna be a fun episode. Let's get into these picks, gentlemen, shall we? But of course, as always, let's go over the rules of the show. All right. Oh, but before we get into the rules of the show, I want to give out a special shout out.
Oh yes,
this is really exciting. We got our very first piece of fan mail. A dear listener.
Believe it or not,
for the 16 of you listening out there, that's right. You can email us. I wouldn't recommend it though because I never checked the stacked email. I would prefer a DM on Twitter or putting in the YouTube comments. But
I don't mind an email.
Like you check the fucking email. You don't think you even have access to it, you dummy. Oh, how about you can reach us on our Instagram DM us on
Yeah.
Instagram. Yeah,
I will
there you
answer.
go.
I will answer Instagram DM.
Oh,
yeah.
you'll answer
Everybody-
Instagram DMs, but you won't fucking share the times we upload episodes on Instagram. That's really interesting.
If you sent me the thumbnail for every episode, I would do it.
I basically do. You can just pull it from Twitter. How did you do it before?
I used it from the Google Doc.
That's not true.
Yeah, I did.
Because I stopped doing that, and you still posted
Yeah.
them.
No, I stopped doing it.
Okay, I'll put them on the Google Docs again. Will that make you happy?
No,
Will you do
send
it?
them to me. No, send
No.
them to me.
I'll just do it on Twitter.
Do you want me to just do you want me to text you the thumbnail every time I make it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. Anyways, that's distracting. For the special shout out to Alex McKnight, who wrote us a very, very nice email. It was so kind of
cried.
you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's
I cried.
really heartwarming. Genuinely, it was kind of
Genuinely
really nice.
heartwarming that you have discovered our show and that you are enjoying it so far.
And
And
we're
he
not
recommended
screaming into the void.
not screaming into the void. That is right. We're not just three crazy dudes just doing nothing. But who cares? Even if we were, we're just talking. We're just having fun talking movies.
Just
You know,
chatting movies, you know.
Yeah, we don't care about the views. We don't care about. I know Brandon's in it for the money, but me personally, I'm not. Okay.
Yeah, what's the AdSense on these videos, Ethan?
Oh, I can't tell because I've been keeping it all for myself.
I get it.
Alex, yeah, thank you so much for the email. And he suggested that in the future we do an episode on Jackie Chan movies. And we will definitely keep that in mind. Brandon and I are not as well versed as Jackie Chan as Chris is. You know, I think I've only seen Police Story and
Rush Hour.
Rush
You seen
Hour,
Rush Hour.
the Kung Fu
Spy
Panda
Next
movies.
Door.
The
So you've
Adventures of
seen,
Jackie
like,
Chan. You
You've
know,
seen like most of his like good American stuff.
I've seen Around the World in 80 Days. Steve Coogan and Jackie Chan. Yeah. So now I want to watch all the Jackie Chan films on the Criterion Collection. That's probably what my next step is. And then I want to watch some other films from him because that email was so nice. We're gonna put in the effort to make a Jackie Chan episode happen in the future, just for you, Alex. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
All right. So look forward to that, everyone. Anyways, let's get to the show. Once a week, we set a topic or theme and go our separate ways to construct our own 3-film stack. Then after a week, we come back here on the podcast and share our own stacks, one film at a time. Then at the end of the show, we'll mix and match our 9 films, make the ultimate decision on what quintessential 3-film stack we are checking out of this hypothetical video store. Brandon, you are up first with your first old period piece film.
Well, I'm picking a Mel Gibson film. I'm picking Braveheart.
Hey,
Braveheart.
I
You know
had a
what's-
feeling someone would pick Braveheart.
You know what's funny? I almost picked a Mel Gibson film too, but I didn't. This would have been a.
I almost
that
picked
would've-
Braveheart as well.
This would have been a really awkward celebration of Mel Gibson episode, but I'm glad it's not good.
Yeah, Ethan almost picked Daddy's Home too.
Yeah,
Great period
that
piece.
happens in the 1400s. No one
Feels like it.
no
It's
one
kind of
believes
dated.
me, but it
It's,
has.
it's more dated
Uh,
than Daddy's Home 1, that's for sure.
I haven't seen Braveheart. This is a big blind spot of mine. I know it's a classic. Tell me
It's a
about
very
Braveheart.
good movie. So this is a movie that follows a Scottish revolt for independence against England. I remember watching this movie when I was probably very young, too young to watch this movie, and I remember it was one of the first adult movies that I watched with my dad and remember loving and thinking, wow, that was so good. Not just because it was violent, but because I found the story very compelling and almost brought me to tears when I watched it the first time. One of those first movies to make me cry. And it was because it's just so emotional seeing somebody want something so bad for their people and to see them go through genuinely brutal struggles and to see that unravel the way it does. I don't want to spoil it for you, Ethan, because it is a very powerful film no matter what you think of the director, but Braveheart is one of the best historical dramas, one of the best picture movies out there. And yeah, it might seem like Oscar bait. I mean, it's a film, it's a historical period drama, as most period pieces tend to be Oscar favorites, but I think what sets it apart is the direction. It's very, very vibrant, very brutal. Chris, do you have anything to say about it? I haven't seen it in a while, so
I have not seen this movie in a while either. I can't say I rewatch Mel Gibson films all that often.
Yeah.
But I will say Braveheart, I remember seeing this like I think back in high school, I think. And I remember, yeah, it was one of those movies I like because at the time I was still very much like getting into movies. And this was one of those like weirdly foundational movies for me that like really like made me embrace cinema as like something that affected me more than
Same
like
here.
any other art form. And I
Weird
know that's
that
really
Mel
weird to say
Gibson
about a
did
Mel
that.
Gibson film. Something about Mel Gibson,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. But terrible human, but captivating director, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was one of the movies that like really affected me, and I remember like being so compelled by like, yeah, this story is grand. It's got a lot of emotion behind it, but it's also got this like giant plot and war behind it. And you know, Scottish history is not something I delve into very often, but it's kind of nice to like have Scottish representation. I don't know what else to call it than that. I don't know what else to say about this movie. It's been a long time. Maybe I should rewatch this.
It's
You know what?
very good.
We should do a Mel Gibson-a-thon. What do you guys think? Daddy's Home, Hacksaw, and Braveheart.
That sounds great to me. Wait,
Ethan,
that's
have
a
you seen
stack.
Braveheart? Yeah.
no, I haven't seen Braveheart. Hold on, Chris. My audio is very much coming through your end too.
Hang on, I can't even.
Are you
Talk,
hearing
Ethan.
that, Brandon? Can you hear that?
Yeah. Wait.
Hello.
Maybe turn your headphones down.
Try now.
Hello, 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 hello,
Is it gone?
hello, 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 hello. Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's go from there.
Cool.
Okay.
And
No, I haven't seen Braveheart, but I know the sword. I know he screams freedom. I know he dies at the end. You know, I know he screams
Yeah.
freedom and dies at the end.
It's super powerful.
Yeah.
The ending is what I take away most from this movie. The ending and the setup of like their fight for independence.
Right. And yeah, Mel Gibson, man, gotta not respect him, but
Except for
No.
these two movies that he's
Except
made that are
for-
amazing.
yeah, I guess some of the things he does is kind of cool, but he's not cool. He's not cool. Sorry, guys, he's not cool. Braveheart. Okay, good first pick. You know, what era does it take place?
1200, so 13th century.
13th century. Okay, cool. Starting off a bit early in the 13th century. Pretty cool. All right, Chris, what's your first old period piece film?
ooh, shoot. I'm gonna go with my. I'm gonna go with this one first. I'm picking a film that is set in late 18th century France. Not her. It's this director's not her debut feature, but certainly the film that put her on the map. A lot more, especially in like contemporary film like
What?
discourse. It's Portrait of a Lady on Fire, directed by Celine Sciamma.
Oh,
Good movie.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. Because I
Um,
also had I also have a late 18th century French film that takes place in France, directed by a woman. But I thought we were gonna double stack, but we're not. Anyways, tell me, Chris. I love Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I mean, yeah, we've all seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire, but anyone who doesn't know, this film is a historical romance drama telling the story about a lesbian affair between a young aristocrat and a painter commissioned to paint the aristocrat's portrait. It's right from its logline, it's a pretty straightforward movie plot-wise, but as the film goes on, you start to get a sense for what is really going on here beyond the blossoming romance between the characters and that like very strict linear way to read the plot. Like while the romance is obviously a central part of that film, it's really more about like the yearning for companionship and freedom. In the film, like love is crafted in less the conventional and idealized image, but more so through this kind of like unconsummated emotion and feeling, and like the idea of these things being suppressed by systems of inhibitions and prejudice. And unfortunately, this, like, even though this film is set in late 18th century France, a lot of the issues that are going on in this film are very prevalent today. And oddly enough, this is a pretty common trend of mine in a lot of my favorite films. I really like we have pointed this out before, but everybody has pointed out that like a lot of my favorite films are very melancholic. I don't know why, but that emotion really strikes with me when it comes to cinema. Um, and yeah, this movie is it's a very tonally delicate and emotionally intimate film. And yeah, I think this does a really good job of kind of not only being the film that it is and doing such a great job with what it's going for, but also in terms of being a pre-1800 period piece, there's a lot of detail that goes into this film. The costuming is amazing. The set design is fantastic. Also the cinematography in this film is gorgeous. This is one of the few films that has ever shot in. I kid you. Okay, I know this might not sound like much to you guys, but this movie shot in 8K, and a lot of movies do that so that they can like fix things up and
Downscale
clean
it.
them up later in post.
Yeah.
But this film shot with the intention of we're not doing this to make changes in post. We're doing this to preserve texture and color detail and stuff like that, which might sound kind of like, oh, okay. But especially for me as someone who really pays attention to visuals when watching a movie, it really does shine through. And I think anyone who does share in that like love for visual imagery in film will really get a kick out of this movie. I know you both really like Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Brandon, you gave it a 4?
Yeah.
And Ethan, a 4 as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it a 4.5. Ethan, why don't you go first? What do you think about this movie?
Yeah. I had the pleasure of seeing this at the Cinerama Dome, which was really cool. But funny little story about it. I bought one of my favorite movie theater snacks when I saw this movie, Bunch of Crunch. I don't know if you're familiar with Bunch of Crunch.
I already know where this is going.
And it's kind of loud to eat Bunch of Crunch because you got to shake it out of the box, And Portrait of a Lady on Fire is a pretty quiet movie,
Yeah.
And I just felt like such a douche every time I wanted to have some Bunch of Crunch. So what I had to do is I'm like, okay, they go to the beach a lot in this movie, and the waves are pretty loud. So every time they went to the beach, I would eat Bunch of Crunch, so I could hide my Bunch of Crunch under the sound of the waves, because I didn't want to ruin this really great experience for anybody because this film is so good. It's just it's such an intimate film, and it does this really insane thing of building up these super strong and violent emotions, but not like violent, like negatively violent. They're
like
just
visceral
emotions, but it's constantly brewing underneath these two women throughout the film up until the very end. When she's at the what's it, the opera or something, Is it an opera or is it a?
I think
it's a performance of some kind.
They were performing. Vivaldi was performing. Yeah, it was like a musical performance. Yeah,
a musical performance. Up until that, where it's just then that's where it all spills out, And, what's the director's name? Celine Sciamma.
Sciamma. Yeah, I'm not sure if my pronunciation is correct.
Celine Sciamma. Yeah, Celine Sciamma. It is just so good at making such an atmospheric film. I can already feel it with the film Petit Maman. I'm so excited to see that film. It looks like that movie looks like a Ghibli movie, but like live action, But here it's like it's so good because it like the film represents the painting, the Portrait of a Lady on Fire, where it's like it's so elegant, but there's this fire brewing at the bottom, and you just have to slowly watch it creep its way up the dress, and it's an amazing film, and I have so much respect for it. Love it. What do you think, Brandon? With your wizarding wand, whose wand is that?
It's the Elder Wand.
The Elder Wand?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
It's Dumbledore's technically.
Albus Dumbledore?
Albert Dumbledore. And Voldemort and Harry. But, I digress. We don't talk about those movies here.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Nope. or JK. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This was supposed to be my last movie that I watched in theaters before the COVID pandemic, and they shut down the theater, and I had to give up my ticket because of the COVID thing, and I got bronchitis. So I didn't see it in theaters. I really wanted to, because it took forever to get to us, because I remember the previous award season, everybody was talking about it. And I ended up settling for it when I got to a milestone, my next 100th movie. I wanted to make Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And I really liked this movie. I think the colossal hype hurt it, especially the build-up, because I had so many months thinking, what's this movie going to be? Everybody's loving it. It doesn't mean I don't think it's still a really good movie. I just think my expectations were a little bit too high. As it's a great piece of LGBT cinema. I think it's very clear and beautiful in its sound and picture. Like, I think technologically this is like a marvel. And narratively I think it's a really impactful story about this time, and like these people who are like a person who's like an artist and painter, and these people who kind of become lovers over the course of like a short period of time. I didn't find it super emotionally resonant for me, but I still really liked the movie. It burned with a lot of passion. And yeah, very good.
Heck yeah.
I'm not a lesbian, so
I don't relate. No, just kidding.
So
my
movie
own
sucked.
my own private. I mean my own private Idaho's good. That's a good gay movie.
See, guys.
See, guys.
I'm an
I
ally.
related to that. I related.
Oh sure.
Oh sure.
Oh sure. All right, that's a great movie. This is already coming up to be quite a interesting stacked episode.
But what about like 9/11 in the movie? You know, if it was set during that time.
Yeah. Why didn't they mention 9/11 in Portrait of a Lady on Fire? I don't care if it was France. It was a worldwide event. Anyways, I'm picking a film that takes place in France during the late 18th century. Directed by a woman, Sofia Coppola. I'm picking Marie Antoinette. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've heard of it.
And
I know it's very different from other period
It's very
pieces.
different from other period pieces during this era. So what I think this film does so well is I think there's often a sort of disassociation with people in period pieces. They really feel of their time. You know, what are you doing? Brand's about to smash his lava lamp over his desk.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Stop.
You're shaking
Why would
around.
I wasn't.
What are you doing?
I was not trying to distract. I'm trying to fix it. Okay?
Anyways,
you continue on with your movie.
Okay, a lot of you look at like movies like from Jane Austen novels and shit like that take place during this time where people wearing like all these elegant outfits and stuff. And the reason why I don't like those films is the people in it, they never feel like real people. You know? I feel like they go too far into capturing what they're like at the time that you never feel like that, wait, these are humans that just existed at a different time. They're still like us, you know? They still make jokes. They still gossip. They still hang out. And they still like to have parties like us. And I think Sofia Coppola does a really great job of streamlining that in Marie Antoinette, because there's no French accents. The actors just have the accents that they have normally. They talk to each other like how we talk to each other, you know? But of course it's still this around the subject matters of the time. But it starts to reveal that like these people had the same social standards, not really standards, so same social mannerisms as us, you know, just they were French, you know, and it in different contexts, you know, because like you look back in history and like there were dudes still making like dick jokes and fart jokes like back in Greece, you know, they found scribes of like it on a bar or some shit, you know, like the way we act as social creatures really hasn't changed, just the context in which we act has changed, you know? And I think this film does a really good job at doing that by keeping modern colloquialisms and language and using modern music, but keeping the settings and the narrative very of its time, but still keeping those essential things that make you like you're able to step into the shoes of these characters leading up to the moments of the French Revolution, of like the the people who lived in Versailles at the time. It's a really good film. Highly recommend it. One of Sofia Coppola's best films out there, right behind Lost in Translation. Yeah. Have you guys? None of you guys have seen this film, right? No.
No. I now that they met, I don't think I've ever seen a Sofia Coppola film.
Chris, you would love Lost in Translation. What the fuck are you doing?
I know.
I've seen like 2 or 3 of her movies. She's good. I like her as a director. I've just heard mixed things about Marie Antoinette.
It's a movie. It's like you either like it or you don't. You know, like
yeah, that's that exactly. So it's like kind of like one of those things where I'm like,
yeah, it's very much a choice that you just gotta you either ride with it or you don't. I don't think you will, Brandon. I'm gonna be honest, because I know you like the old timey ways of them talking and stuff.
Okay, I don't.
But
like,
I think you
it's
like
not
it, Chris.
my thing, but I do like it.
I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think that was just a cool movie to sort of, when you're watching a stack of going back in history, I think this is very good, like to help you go into the history. You got the settings, the narratives, but it's still like you still got one foot in the present, and that's
I don't know how I'll feel about the modernism take, but we'll see. It's unique.
Yeah.
They don't do that in many movies.
They don't, but it really works here. I really do think it does. So yeah, that's my first film. Let's get into the second round here. Brandon, what is your second period piece?
I'm picking a Terrence Malick movie.
Ooh.
Picking The New World.
Never mind. I thought you were gonna. Actually, no. I don't think it's 18. Never mind. What's the world about? Sorry, I almost overtook you. Sorry, my bad.
It's all right. It's cool. So we've all know the story of Pocahontas from the Disney movie. This is a more faithful adaptation of what really might have happened between Pocahontas and John Smith. So it's a story from the early 1600s, 17th century, in the New World that takes place between the U.S. or the colonies at the time and the U.K., England at the time. And I found it extremely interesting to see like a realistic take on this story and seeing the characters and the people, the way like Native Americans lived and how the English people really treated them as a result of their colonization. But also to see like a love story take place between two people that really didn't belong together, not only for age reasons, but because of like the social standards at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that like conflict play out over the course of like months, years, etc., was really interesting. And it was super sad too, because it focuses on disease and like war and struggles of power between people. And it's not like Dances with Wolves where John Smith is like suddenly integrated into an Indian tribe, or where Pocahontas is immediately accepted by the English people as a worthy love interest for this English nobleman.
Yeah.
But it's very, very compelling. Now, I don't think the narrative is perfect. I think it was one of my bigger issues with the movie when I watched it in 2019. But what I do love about the movie is the way that Malick depicts this time period. I think that was one of my main points of plus, because Emmanuel Lubezki shot it, and he knows how to shoot with natural lighting. He knows how to shoot a time period well.
Yeah.
But also the way it's production designed, it feels so authentic to the time period. And you don't often get that with period pieces where they'll do their best to imitate it. They won't replicate it. Like, I felt like I was there. And that's something that Malick and Lubezki together do really well, is capturing that realism. I know we see that in like something like A Hidden Life, which came out in 2019. You see that with A Tree of Life with his more contemporary and 1950s sort of design. And I really appreciate that attention to detail.
I haven't seen this movie, but I can only imagine what a powerful movie it can be, considering what you've just said. And and just like that dream team that is Terrence Malick and Emmanuel Lubezki, like they can, the way they visualize things together is really powerful. I think like I mean, there's not really much for me to say because I don't really know this movie well. But I am definitely interested. I just added it to my watch list. Also, Brandon, I know we were talking about this briefly earlier.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Levetsky is also the only cinematographer who has his own exhibit in the Academy Museum.
So,
He has his
Really?
own little section.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's the only one with his own little bit. And
I
I'm
would
like,
say
right.
this film is most comparable to The Revenant out of
Hmm.
his work that I've seen.
Oh, there you go. I love The Revenant.
So
Ethan, you got anything to say?
No, I've actually
not as violent.
I've
but
never
good.
heard of this film before, actually. But I do think we need more. What we need are more colonization movies. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree.
No,
sort
I
of.
think we need more movies during that timepiece that don't really paint us in a really nice light. I think I think it'd be really cool for a filmmaker to explore like that the new world wasn't really a new world, and I don't know. But it seems like Terrence Malick here does a little bit of that. Would you say, Brandon? Or
No, I think he does a lot to like point out the flaws of the English colonizers as well as like some of the problems that face them. Like there was a lack of communication, so like people were treated poorly because they didn't understand each other. It wasn't like how the Pilgrims were depicted in our history classes growing up, where they were like benevolent and the Indians gave food or the natives brought food to us and that's how we got Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It's not necessarily the most desolate picture. I mean, there was like relations there, but it's not extremely hostile, but it's not super friendly either. So it's just like two adult parties going at things, and I think that's the most realistic take to have on it.
I like that. Seems very mature way of handling how we got to this dang old country,
Continent.
dang old continent, this whole ass continent. How these dang old white folks got here. What the fuck were they doing, Sounds cool. Very nice. Chris, what's your second pick?
All right. Something that really surprised me when I was looking at, because Ethan, I always go on your stacked final picks
Yes.
list to make sure, and I was really surprised to find out that unless I'm miscounting, we've only ever selected one Kurosawa film for final stack before. We've only done Ikiru.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm gonna add one, and hopefully it makes it to final stack because I really love this movie. I know you guys do too. I'm picking my favorite Kurosawa movie. I'm picking Ron.
Nailed it. I knew you were gonna pick this one because I looked. I'm like,
Yeah.
because I was thinking about picking Ron too. I was like, ooh, we've never picked this film. We've had it mentioned on 2 other episodes, so I'm like, Chris, he's gonna pick because I know how much he loved this movie. Tell me about Ron in its context as a historical film, because I know we've talked about this a lot, So tell me about Ron.
So Ron takes place in 16th century post-feudal Japan. It is Kurosawa's last quote-unquote epic film, and it's his third Shakespeare adaptation. This time, it's an adaptation of King Lear, and I love the idea that they adapted King Lear into Japanese history, using samurai warlords and clans fighting to occupy the power vacuum, and grounding this story in that era in Japanese history where the feudal system has been abandoned, and now we have warring clans of samurai going head to head against each other. Like this was an era of Japanese history that's very contentious, I guess. Like it's very foundational for Japan's like traditionalist culture.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ran, translated from Japanese to English, just means chaos or the war of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Which very telling of this movie. It tells the story of I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Ichimonji family, and it tells the story of that family and that larger clan after its elderly warlord Hidetora divides his kingdom amongst his 3 sons. In doing so, unknowingly setting into motion an all-out war and collapse of both the clan and his family. I would love to get into the plot more, but knowing that you two have seen this film, and that Ron holds a lot of really great twists and turns and surprises, I'm honestly think I'm gonna forego that and just tell the audience to go see this movie because it is pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Especially for a movie that was made in 1985 that it looks like this.
Yeah.
Remember, CGI does not exist.
No.
This shit was all
Built.
real.
They built
You can,
this shit.
and this movie was made for 11 mil.
What?
At the time, that was very expensive.
That's crazy.
But looking back, that's amazing. They pulled that off for 11 mil.
Yeah.
Like what
is
like
that
that's
for
that's
inflation?
relatively low budget nowadays. Yeah, there's a billion things you can say about this movie, but I just want to tell the audience to go see it. I know you guys love this movie too.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, this is one of the most grand and beautifully produced tragedy films I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's very politically intricate, but also very like down to earth and emotional too. There's a lot of humanity behind this film, and yeah, just masterful filmmaking. Every department nails it. A must see. What a picture!
What
one might say.
picture!
Yeah,
it has been a while since I've seen Ron. I'm not gonna lie. I know we've talked about it a lot, but sort of my memory on what happens in this movie is fading a bit. I think I watched it. It was one of the first Kurosawas I watched. I know that. Shout out to David Desser. This is his favorite Kurosawa film as well.
good taste, Mr. Desser.
Good taste, Mr. Desser. Too bad you got fired. I don't know.
Dude,
I don't know. I just,
dude,
Don't
chill.
Yeah, just the battles in this movie are like something you've never seen before because you have to count the fact that this is all practical and this shit had to be planned out and choreographed. I picked this for the best costume design movie. I don't know why I'm yawning. Sorry about that. The costumes are immaculate because I'm bored. Yawn. We've talked about this movie a lot. No. And it's just it's a very tragic film about these brothers and like how conflict leads to tragedy and disaster. Catastrophe. It's a very good film, and I think this is the next Kurosawa film I'm gonna rewatch. If I pick one to rewatch, I'm gonna rewatch this one. Brandon, you yourself, you're on a Kurosawa kick right now, making your way through his filmography, and you're holding the Blu-ray up right now. What's your take on Ran?
Great movie. I did a double feature of the 1960s Batman movie and this.
What?
And I said sarcastically in my review, my first sentence was best double feature ever because I hate the 1960s Batman movie.
Bad take.
No, good take. Everybody who loves that movie, you just grew up at the boomer time.
What? I didn't.
You don't love it though. You just like it.
Oh, sure.
He's silent. Yeah, I'm on a Kurosawa kick right now, not just to troll Ethan, but because I really enjoy Kurosawa as a filmmaker. And I want to see more of his films, especially since he's one of the most iconic and prolific filmmakers out there that's not American. He's not like, he's up there with the Miyazakis, the Scorseses, the Spielbergs, a household name. I feel like most people who know film know Kurosawa's name, or at least one of his movies by a title. And Ron is by far my favorite. It was one of the first films of his I watched, one of the first 5 or 6, I think. And I remember it immediately became my favorite after watching it because it was epic. Like, the scale of it for $30 million of today's money is kind of crazy. It only cost $30 million of 2022 money to make this. Like, they built sets, they built miniatures, they burned sets, they had costumes for days, they had so many extras. It's
horses,
kind of
the horses.
The horses. How many horses died in this movie?
Yeah, you know how at the end of like Hollywood movies they're all like no horses or animals were harmed? I'm pretty sure some horses died in this movie, or they used really
like there's no way they lived through this shit.
Yeah, it's crazy because it feels so genuinely realistic, like somebody went out, time traveled back to a feudal Japanese battlefield or post-feudal battlefield. It was like, all right, I got my camera, let's go.
Yeah. And
it looks that way too. Like the cinematography still lives up to this day. I haven't seen the render of this on my Blu-ray yet, but I have seen a HD rental, which I assume is very similar, and it looks great. It looks very crisp. I love the story. It's very tragic, but like I find the story of the tragedy of these three brothers and then what happens to their elderly father to be like some of the most compelling work Kurosawa's ever done. Up there with Ikaru and Dreams.
Yeah. Very masterful film. It's masterful. That's all you can say about it. And I gotta rewatch it. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
better than Kagemusha.
Let's bounce into my film. I am also doing a Japanese film. Not a Kurosawa film though. I would be surprised if you two have even ever heard of this film. It is and also it's a film made in 1937. It is called Humanity in Paper Balloons. It takes place in
Never heard of
early. Okay, and there he goes. He just said never heard of it. He slams his headphones down and goes and leaves. All right, he's back now. It is a film. So I wanted to. There are a lot of period piece Japanese films. You know, I love a lot of them. They're one of my favorite genres out there. And I wanted to capture one that depicts life in I don't think this is feudal because it's 18th century. But
no,
life.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't know what era it was. Fuck.
Did you say 19th century?
No, it's 18th.
What century?
It's early 1700s. What era?
Oh, that's definitely after feudal.
I know it's after, but fuck. I took a history of the samurai class, and I knew all the eras at one point, but I don't anymore. That's when I watched this film. Was in that class, and it is about a disgraced samurai warrior who essentially gives up on his own honor and is just like a bum in this town. His wife basically has sort of, you know, disowned him. Not really, is very disappointed in him. All he does is he now sells small paper balloons for his town and goes drinking. It's a very somber film about sort of the decline of the samurai in this era, you know, because they were very prevalent during the feudal era, but as time went on, sort of their use was declining and they're sort of losing hope. And so he gets in this battle, or not, he gets stuck in the middle between his father's former master. So his father was a samurai, his former master hires him to sort of take care of these gang members who are running a gambling ring in this territory. And it's a deconstruction of the code of honor that, spoilers, that code of honor actually didn't really exist back then. Like Bushido did not exist. It was like, it wasn't a named thing. That was just something that was picked up earlier by people who analyzed how samurai acted and created this thing. It's like, oh, this is what they did. We're gonna call this Bushido. Anyways, sort of, it's just him coming to terms with his own honor, his place in society. And I chose this as a great period piece because I think it does really great world building at a more smaller scale story. Because when you think of feudal, like old period piece Japan movies, you think of big samurai battle, you know, big temples and castles like Run. But this just takes place in like two side streets in Japanese city in the early 1700s. And it's really good. I think it's on Criterion if you ever want to check it out. It's a very good film that I think not enough people talk about. I want them to make a Blu-ray of this movie. Come on, where the fuck is it, Criterion? And yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a very dirty, grimy, somber film about a man just losing hope, and it doesn't really have a great ending, like a very happy ending. And it's just like, that's how it was for the samurai during this declining era, you know? And it's a really interesting watch because it really subverts what you really thought, what people really think of this era of Japan at the time. You know, it's a very subversive film, and that's why I want to choose it. Humanity in Paper Balloons. Have either of you two ever heard this film before in your life?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
No.
Well, are you interested now? I don't know. Did I do a good job?
Nope.
No, not at all.
All right, moving
I
on.
don't care.
No, I'm serious. Yeah, we can move on. I just wanted to shout that out. I think it's a cool
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
No, that's cool. I added it to. I did add it to my watch list.
There you go.
Genuinely.
Yeah, you should check it out. Brandon, you should check it out.
I might never get to it, but
That's
it's in
okay.
my watch
Hey,
list.
it's the thought that counts, right? There we go.
Is it really? Is it really?
No. All right, let's move on. Brandon, what's your last film? I'm so
Yeah,
pathetic.
okay. Yeah. Think next time.
Yeah, you are. You're fucking pathetic.
I am picking a 2018 film by one of my favorite directors, Yorgos Lanthimos. I'm picking The Favorite.
All right,
The favorite.
let's see. You know, Caroline always asks me, why does Brandon have a poster of The Favorite in his bedroom?
Because
So
it's amazing.
why don't you tell me? Tell me why you have a poster of it in your bedroom.
What, has she seen the movie?
Yes, she loves the movie.
Okay. Why is she so confused on why I love the movie?
I don't know. Tell us.
That's
Why do you love the
so
movie?
weird. Well, okay, so going into 2018 was coming off a high year, and then 2019 was going to be an even more epic year for cinema. We didn't know. And sandwiched between was 2018, which had a few all-time greats, in my opinion. It had First Reform that year. We had Black Klansman. We had a great Mission Impossible movie. We had Blind Spotting from an up-and-coming director from our school, from our college.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I felt like 2018 was sort of a down year for movies. And every so often we have one. I feel like 2020 and 2021 were both kind of down years because of delays and because of COVID. But this year's shaping up to be great. But 2018 was sort of a down year after 2 straight years of really good cinema. And I was waiting and waiting for something that would like kind of hit me, and nothing really did other than First Reformed until The Favorite came out. And The Favorite is just an outstanding period drama. It takes like people's standard like view of it very much follows the same path and structure of what you would consider for a period drama, but it does something more unique stylistically and performance-wise with these characters, because Yorgos is a very particular director. If you look at his films, like all of his actors either perform in monotone, like have these weird sort of line deliveries that are like flat, but it's meant to evoke this sort of strangeness. And here he kind of has that, but he also kind of subverts it. But he doesn't go along with the stereotypical, like, I feel like posh British accents that you yes.
Posh.0.
Shut up. Go. Anyway, I really love this movie because it's great. It's a great progressive story about power struggles within like sexuality between men and women, but also between women and women, which I found to be very fascinating. And considering it came out at a time when I feel like Me Too was sort of starting to take shape, I thought it would hit and strike a chord more with female viewers as well as Academy voters, but I guess it just kind of got swept under the rug in favor of something like Green Book, which won Best Picture that year, which irritates me to this day. But the performances are outstanding. The writing is quick, witty, and intelligent. And I feel like it has something to say. It's like an incredibly funny movie, but it also has stuff that is very dark and like captures like the underbelly of what royalty is really like. It's some people are extremely selfish and like overbearing. And some people try to use like royalty for that, like to gain their own power and influence and within that organization or group.
Yeah.
And I love this movie so much. I feel like it's like one of those movies that we don't talk enough about. even though it's newer.
We don't talk about the favorite enough.
No.
Chris, what do you think about the favorite? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. Brandon, this is one of those movies that Brandon has gone on his hands and knees for me to watch.
Damn.
There are many movies that.
And
Brandon
why
has
won't you
not
watch it, Chris? Why won't you watch it?
To spite you, Brandon. It's
No,
like you with Akira Kurosawa with Ethan.
No, I
Just
know
to
why
fuck
you won't
with
watch it. I know why you won't watch it, but I'm asking you why you won't watch it. It's a very silly reason, but I know why.
Wait, why?
Why, Brandon?
It's because of the cinematography. When
No.
the trailers came out for The Favorite, Chris was like, no movie can be that good if it uses like split diopters and like fisheye lenses like that and like wide shots, and it makes me it sickens me.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I only said okay. Maybe at the time I believed it, but looking back now, that's such a stupid like take that I had.
But it stuck with me. It pissed me off, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. This is not even because I believe that anymore. It's just to fuck with you. Nah, like for real. I will watch this movie eventually. It's in my large laundry list of movies to get to. And yeah, one day I will. And I mean, I've liked Yorgos before. He's definitely a director that's a little, I guess, like hard to jump into because he has such a distinct oddness to him and his work, but it's worked before, and I can imagine this works really well, especially because I love Emma Stone and Olivia Colman.
So good.
And yeah, also I think the big thing that sold me on this movie is Olivia Colman's acceptance speech for her Oscar because she's adorable.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'll watch it eventually.
That was sorry.
Oh, sorry, Brandon.
That was like the second happiest I've ever been to watch a thing win something at the Oscars, behind the Parasite win the next year, because like she was not expected to win, and Glenn Close was expected to win for The Wife, and she was very good in that movie.
The Wife.
But Olivia Colman in The Favorite, she's so good, Chris. Like, she's better than The Lost Daughter good in that movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is Olivia Colman's best performance she's ever given. It's a pretty high bar. I think this is a pretty great film. I think it does a lot what Marie Antoinette does, actually, of sort of it presents its dialogue in a modern colloquial way, but not using the actual language or accents of like an American person, like it still keeps more feet in its period than Marie Antoinette does, which to a degree I might say makes it more successful. I think I might like this film more than Marie Antoinette. I don't know. But I think it's really good. I just think this fucking Yorgos Lanthimos, he does a really good deconstruction of misogyny during this time and how crippling it is. Because sort of all the roots of their problems in this film comes from that. I think the one thing that really took me back from making this like a really perfect film is I don't think I was a fan of the ending, how it ended, but that's just a nitpick. I think this is a great film, and great costume design, production design. Like, damn, like it's crazy how like a low budget. Would you call this an indie film? I don't know if you call this an indie film. Just a low budget film would be able to shoot in such places like this. It's crazy.
It's not a studio movie, like, because I think it was done by Searchlight, and they're not like a huge studio, but they're not independent. So it's like sort of like a weird in between. It felt like Yorgos was allowed to do what he wanted to do, like without going too weird. Like it still feels like a Lanthimos movie, but it doesn't feel like it's like compromising his vision by working with the studio like that. I remember it got Best Production Design at the Oscars as well. I think it was nominated for that, and it definitely deserved it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, good, solid pick, Brandon. Deserves to be on this list. Deserves to be on it. All right, Chris, what is your last period piece film?
Who's ready for a wild card?
No. God damn it. all the time. These happen.
Okay,
These happen.
let's hear it.
Okay.
All right. So my movie that I'm picking takes place across a wide range of eras.
Oh my god.
As
Cloud Atlas.
from as
Just kidding.
recent as 1989 to as far back as ancient Greek history.
Oh, I know what
I'm
you're
picking
picking.
Bill and Ted's Excellent
What?
Adventure.
No!
I thought about this one. I actually did think about it, but I never put it on the list because I thought it would be cheating.
What?
Because it never
Come on, you know I ain't
it
cheating.
never sticks too long in any of the decades to consider it a period piece. Interesting choice.
Think about it. It is kind of a period piece if you think about it. Okay, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a film starring Alex Winters and Keanu Reeves from 1989. It tells a story of them trying to keep their band together because if Ted flunks their history presentation, his dad is sending him off to military school, and they have to ace this thing, otherwise their band's gonna fall apart and their friendship may dissolve. Suddenly, they are contacted by a race of, I guess, alien beings whose entire civilization is built around their band in the far distant future, and they give them the access to time traveling, to a time travel machine that allows them to meet and possibly bring back some of history's most notorious figures. I'm going to rattle off a couple that fall pre-1800s pre-1800s. We got Princess Joanna, Princess Elizabeth, Joan of Arc, Socrates or Socrates, Genghis Khan. There's also a couple of other figures that they get that are post-1800s, like Beethoven, Abraham Lincoln, Sigmund Freud, and Billy the Kid. But yeah, I want to choose this one just because it covers a little bit of everything. Well, kind of. And yeah, it's a fun-ass movie. And I just wanted to pick it because I think the meme of me picking this movie for pre-1800s period piece films is just way worth the stupidity of it and the hatred that I get from you guys all the time. Whatever. It is what it is. You know, it is.
What it is.
Honestly, if we were doing all kinds of period pieces, like as long as it was, yeah, I might have
That's
selected
true,
this
because they do go into periods that we have excluded on our list.
That's
but we did it. We said we said it. The prompt was pre-1800. We didn't say it cannot be.
I thought you were gonna do.
That's what
Atlas.
it means. We like Fortnite. We like Fortnite. Yeah, this is a good movie. But there's no fucking way I would sing this period piece. They're like in. I picked in those settings for like maybe 15 minutes of the movie.
Look,
total.
Look, that's a great 15 minutes. Let me tell you. It's
you really get it
when they're there.
You really get a sense of like their time. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
They also go to like a Victorian area to pick up their babes, right?
Yeah, and I also picked Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Ron, which are both very dramatic and intense movies. I was throwing a little something, a little spice, a little
levity.
You are right. There is a lack of levity in these period pieces. Often, they're really hard-hitting dramas. Usually,
yeah. Why are period pieces never light?
Yeah, that's
well, history's dark, but still,
history is dark.
Yeah, the world kind of fucking sucked. Like,
The Favorite is a pretty light period piece, I'd say. Makes you laugh. Goes haha funny.
Yeah. Oh my god.
True.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my film. I don't suppose you have anything else to say about it.
I think Bill and Ted's a great movie. I don't know, Keanu Reeves and Bill
and Ted Face the Music too.
That's also a good movie.
Alex Winters.
I said Bill Winters because maybe I don't know.
You combined them.
I combined them.
Oh,
they are one and the same. Yeah. So they go meet Socrates. What the only times they're before is the Arthurian times when they go pick up their babes, right? That's medieval. Then they go to ancient Greece for Socrates.
Beethoven's before.
Napoleon's before.
Yeah, I
Genghis
think.
Khan.
Genghis Khan is before.
Genghis.
Joan of Arc is before.
Good Joan of Arc is before.
Okay.
But they pick up Joan of Arc in like 5 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, it's a good 5 seconds.
It's a good 5 seconds.
And same with Genghis
Yeah.
and Amadeus. They pick up his stool and then they take him. I think the only ones you really spend a lot of time in are Socrates, the babes.
The babes.
Fucking Napoleon.
Is that it?
Most
not
righteous.
really.
Isn't Napoleon
Rewatch
like
it.
an
And
1800s
they're not in it for
person?
Socrates that often either.
No, he died in 1805. So as
Oh,
long as
okay.
he didn't those 5 years, you know.
It's true. Yeah. Interesting movie about history. You know, this is a very Bill and Ted move, Chris. You know, if Bill and Ted were on this podcast and
They probably would've picked their own
they'd
movie.
go back in time and do exactly what you did and just go to all these eras.
They put up
you know.
they probably would have picked the first film, the third film, because the second film doesn't really deal with that.
Yeah.
And what else would they have picked, Ethan?
I don't know. Maybe they would
would've
have
picked
picked
300.
my last film.
Oh, no, unlikely.
Now, Chris, if you were thinking you had the wild card,
God
Oh,
damn
no.
it.
I have kind
didn't
of a
pick
crazy
wild
pick.
card.
I know for a fact this entire movie takes place before the 1800s. But how long before is the question? Guys, what if I said this movie takes place 65 million years ago?
No, you can't pick
Oh
dinosaurs.
no! Oh
You
no!
can't
You're
pick
a
dinosaurs.
genius.
I'm picking
You're a genius.
dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
I'm picking dinosaurs.
Yes!
You can't pick dinosaurs.
Yes!
Why
I
not?
love
Why
this
can't I
movie.
pick dinosaur?
That's not the traditional definition of period.
Why
piece, and you know
not?
it. Look it up online.
What is a period piece?
Oh, Ethan, you cannot shit on me for Bill and Ted for now.
All right.
Yeah, I
an
agree
object
with
or
that.
work that is set in a strongly reminiscent of an early historical period. Natural history.
Natural history.
This
yeah.
works. It was either this or Ice Age, Brandon.
I would have picked Ice Age before that because it actually had
If you
human
chose
beings
Ice Age,
in
I would
it.
have shit my pants.
It actually has human beings.
Oh,
in
you
it.
should have chosen Dawn of the Dinosaurs so that you can combine them.
Oh, damn it. Well, I think this one's the most realistic out of, you know.
Yeah, it is. Okay, why?
Because,
okay, why
Brandon,
is-
humans didn't exist when giant ground sloths exist, I don't think. I know they existed when mammoths existed.
But
Humans did not exist.
But there's a baby.
Humans did not exist during the Ice Age. I
I'm
don't think they could.
consulting Google.
I remember them saying that like that was kind of impossible and it was kind of fantastical. But dinosaur, I think everything
Do they talk? Do dinosaurs talk? Is that realistic?
we don't know.
Were you there?
Were you there?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so. We don't know. They could have talked. You know?
Can't pick fucking dinosaur. That's
This movie is about
ridiculous.
the greatest dinosaur of all time, the iguanodon. That is my favorite dinosaur, named Aladar. And he's raised by lemurs, and they are being hit by a meteor shower. There's meteor showers hitting the planet, and they decide they have to go escape to this sanctuary, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, I probably haven't seen this movie since I was 4 years old. But I remember it being the coolest movie ever because it looked real. It looked like dinosaurs were real. You know, this is pretty much a live action movie. Let's be honest, guys. This is a live action movie. So it's about Aladar going to the sanctuary, and he has to fight off the what is it? The Carnotaur. That was, bro. Those guys are scary. Remember the scene when they're in the cave and the Carnotaurs
Yeah, in the water.
the rain?
Sticking its head through the
Oh my
rain.
god, that was so scary when I was a kid. Holy shit. I remember the scenes when they're like when they couldn't find water, they were going through the desert. Remember that?
Oh yeah, and they're like, yeah,
Oh.
and then there's like a stampede because everyone gets fucking excited.
Because they
once
find
figure
one
it
little
out.
puddle. Yeah. Because they
Yeah.
stomp in the ground enough and water starts coming up or something like that. Oh.
Yeah.
Let's just say I'm glad I wasn't born in that era. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about how shitty history was. Look how it was back then, huh? All right. Yeah, I'm picking dinosaur. Can I be honest? This movie was not on my stack until Chris picked his wild card. Because I was like,
What was it?
What was it?
it was originally Aguirre, The Wrath of God by Werner Herzog.
You switched out a Herzog
I
movie
switched
for
it up
this?
for this.
Okay, in your fairness though, I thought about switching. I like before this episode we started recording. I wasn't sure about picking Bill and Ted. I almost picked Green Knight instead because I wanted to throw in a medieval one because I didn't have one of those. But no, it was too much gold to pick Bill and Ted, so I went with that.
Well, there you go. I love the effort though. I love thinking about it. What do you guys think of
The
Dinosaur?
Last Duel.
Tell me what you think about Dinosaur.
Well, it's the third worst Disney movie, so.
What? Don't you mean the third best?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
I don't find it compelling at all, and I think it's boring.
What? But dinosaurs.
I think I love dinosaurs. You know this about me. I was a dinosaur kid.
And you didn't love this movie?
No, I didn't. I thought it was so dull and uninteresting, and I thought the CGI was bad even for when it came out.
Oh my god. Chris, what about you? Help me out here.
Oh my fucking god, this guy. Yeah, dude, I dig this movie. I will admit it has been a very long time since I've seen it, so it might have aged horribly. I remember as a kid being like, this is exactly what it used to look like. Like, this is photoreal. I bet if I went back and watched it, it's probably not photoreal, but my memory of it is very, very vivid.
Something.
And I remember just loving this movie. I thought there was a surprising amount of heart. There's a story about sacrifice. There's a story there's just a little bit of everything in this movie. And I think it works really well. And again, I might eat my words if I rewatch it. But yeah, Ethan, I virtually agree with everything you said. The Carnotaurs are scary as fuck. Iguanodons are awesome. Yeah, I just think it's awesome. Good pick.
I'd rather rewatch Jurassic World.
What?
That's
Would
what
you really?
I said what I said.
Fuck you.
It's just,
This movie.
and I just sent you guys a masterclass article from Martin Scorsese where he defines period piece.
By Martin Scorsese. I'm not listening to that old fogey, that old bloke. He doesn't know anything about. He was probably around during the dinosaurs. That's why he doesn't consider it a period piece. Oh my god.
Weird. What a pick.
Yeah, fuck. It's a great period piece because like it teaches you about the time, you know? That's what period pieces are for. You get to learn about life during these times, and this is a time on Earth, and it teaches you about this time. So that's why I had to pick it, you know? Great movie. All right, well, there are all of our films from this little period piece stack episode. Let's run down our films one more time before we get out to hashing. This might be a very, very violent debate on what's going to be on this final stack. We might not be friends anymore after this. We'll see what happens. Things might be said that you won't be able to take back ever for the rest of your life. So, gentlemen, be very careful what you say in these next few minutes.
I don't care that you broke your arm.
Ending the episode right now. The episode's canceled. Brandon, let's start with you and your 3 films.
I chose The New World.
You fucker. You hesitated because you're like, how can I say this out of order? You absolutely
The favorite. Braveheart. No, I saw it first. That's why I said it.
You looked. I saw you looking
I'm
at it
not-
for a second. You're like, I chose. Which one? How could I say this out of order? I know exactly.
No, I forgot what order I presented
Bullshit,
it in.
dude.
I literally did. I'm not joking. I would tell
Why
you.
would you not know? I bet it's written down in order on your piece of paper. Hence why you presented
It is not. It's not. It's not. Oh, whoops. Hold on.
Oh.
I was looking at the bottom first.
All right, Chris, what are yours?
My films were Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Ron, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
And mine were Marie Antoinette, Humanity in Paper Balloons, and Dinosaur. Dinosaur.
I think I have a stat.
Yeah?
I think we go Humanity and Paper Balloons, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and The Favorite.
No, those all take place in the same century.
I didn't know that.
Those are all 18th century movies.
Well, the reason why I say that is because you've got the subversive one with The Favorite, you've got a Eastern one with Humanity and Paper Balloons, and you've got a strong period piece drama that's from France.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
And Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And it's also from different eras. Like, they were made during different times.
I think, here's my pick. These are also made during different decades and take place during different centuries. I think we should have The Favorite. That tackles the 17th century. Or 18th century, sorry. Then we got Ran, 80s film that tackles, what is it? 14th century? 15th? 16th. Fuck. And then Dinosaur, which tackles the prehistoric era.
I hate you.
We're expansive across time.
I don't know why.
Look, cinema has no restrictions here.
No restrictions.
Yeah, but this stack does. This stack has.
It does. Chris, are you with me? Do you think dinosaurs are beyond?
I believe, Brandon. Unlike you, I believe in a democratic process, and I for one vote in favor. Yay!
Yay to Dinosaur for being on the stack. Come on. Dinosaur takes place in North America in 65 million years ago. We got Japan, the 16th century, and then we got England in the 18th century. It's perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Yes! Chris, do you agree with that stack? Do you think that's a good stack?
I will rock with that.
I don't think humanity agrees.
Oh, I think the world agrees with this one.
I think the world, if we took a poll, would say, "What the hell are you thinking?"
I think the world would subscribe to Stacked if they heard this episode. They'd be like, "These boys are on to something."
These fellas, they're kind of smart.
They're on to something.
I never thought the costume drama could be people that don't wear costumes. They're dinosaurs.
They're dinosaurs. Hey, the lemurs aren't it? That's technically us. That we could be those lemurs for all we know. You know?
Dino DNA.
Dino DNA.
DNA.
Man, I never really thought about that. Dino DNA.
This is a good throwback to episode.
You gotta just do
episode 2 with Dino Talk.
Dinosaur Talk.
Talk.
Bring it back. No, I'm not putting in those logos anymore. I'm not doing that.
We gotta okay, well, we gotta do it in chronological order.
Should we go?
There's nothing more
Should we
jarring.
go further back in time, or should we go forward through time?
Doesn't Dinosaur end with their annihilation?
Yeah. What?
Okay, that's kind of a fucked up way to end.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, you
but
kill
also
him
like the circle of
you
life.
kill him with the shock that what if you were like a Stacked viewer and you're like, listen, these guys recommended this stack, and then you gave him The Favorite, then you gave him Ran, and then you gave him Dinosaur, you'd kill them from shock.
No, we gotta start with Dinosaur.
These are the best period pieces.
Because you destroy all the dinosaurs, then it's this epic drama. You're like, fuck, now we're here in feudal Japan, and there's like all these battles, and then it ends with this really intimate drama.
About sex and power struggles.
Because that's what life is all about. Sex, war,
and that's
sex, war, and dinosaurs. That's what it's all about.
This is the alpha stack.
This is the alpha.
The alpha.
Sex, war, dinosaurs.
I like how it rhymes.
Sounds like a movie.
It slips off the tongue real nice, doesn't it? Sex, war, and dinosaurs.
I mean, that's basically the working title for the Mitchells versus the Machines. I
yeah.
like the Rose.
Whoa.
They're kids.
For sure. Dinosaurs.
Yeah, Dinosaurs a children's movie, okay? Children.
All right.
Children.
Let's run down the
Settle
stack.
down.
This is Stack's official pre-1800s period piece final stack, starting with the 2000 film directed by Ralph Zondag and Eric Layton, Dinosaur, an epic odyssey of prehistoric proportions about an iguanodon named Aladar going to the sanctuary for finding water, having to experience the struggles of what it's like to live on Earth 65 million years ago. It doesn't get better than this, but maybe it does with our second film. Chris, hit us with our second piece.
Our second film is Akira Kurosawa's 1985 epic, Ran, a film set in 16th century post-feudal Japan, telling the story about the Ichimonji family and their larger clan, and an incredible feat of filmmaking. Amazing film. Go check it out.
And our last film is The Favorite. A great 18th century film about power struggles, about the misogyny inherent within royal communities, but also a comedy about power struggles and sex between women. It's wonderful. You all should check it out.
Sex, war, dinosaurs. That's what we're going to leave you off. That's our advice for all of our listeners.
That's our motto.
That's our motto. Sex, war, and dinosaurs. That's our fucking motto, man. There ain't nothing better than
Hell
that.
yeah.
I'd like to thank you all for listening to Stacked. And this was such a fun episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did listening, as we did talking about these movies. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, and be like our dear favorite, not our favorite, one of our favorites.
Yeah.
I don't want to trash Slim Nave in the comments. You know,
Slim
we love him
Nave,
just
you're
as
a
much
legend.
too. Be like Slim Nave and Alex McKnight. Suggest us some topics that you want us to hear. You want to hear us talk about. You know, comment it, tweet at us. You know, send an email.
Email us.
I'll check email now. All right. That's a whole.
If you check email, I'll post on Instagram.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Also, just so you guys know, each of the Stack hosts manage one social media each.
Yeah.
Brandon manages Instagram, Ethan manages Twitter, and I manage
Facebook.
And Ethan manages email, and I manage Facebook. So if you want to have a one-on-one conversation and for whatever reason can't find us independently, hit us up there.
And tell us how each of us are doing on these platforms. Let us know which one could use some improvement.
I would say YouTube.
YouTube.
I think our YouTube's our best part of our that and Twitter.
Let's fucking end this episode. They're probably sick of our shit. All right, later, everybody. Catch you on the next episode.
All right,
Bye.
later, guys. Bye.
Bye.